By using this one strategy, your competitors are printing hundreds of thousands of dollars in sales for their info product. This strategy is so overpowered that even if you use it just once, it could 2 to 3x your monthly revenue with your info product. Now you're probably asking, what is this strategy? And let me tell you, this strategy is the IG story sequence strategy. And if you're not using this strategy, then you are leaving a lot of money on the table. Now, just a disclaimer, this strategy will only work for creators and coaches who already have a well-established audience on Instagram at the bare minimum 1K followers. Now, you can't overuse or spam this strategy, and I'll explain why later on in the presentation. And if you don't do it right, it won't work. And in this video, I'll tell you exactly what even is the IG story sequence strategy and how to use it. So by the end of this video, you can just copy and paste this strategy and print a shit ton of money. So let's get into it. So what even is the Instagram story sequence strategy? So the IG story sequence is a strategy where you create a sequence of stories that lead the viewer through the story and get them to take an action at the end of the story. Now, why is this important? Because the viewer that are seeing your stories are your followers. These people already know you, like you, and trust you. And that's why they follow you and watch your content. In short, these viewers are a pool of buyers that just need to be nurtured and guided a little more to convert into clients. And this is huge because essentially, instead of you just marketing to cold leads and trying to build trust with them, even though that is important to get new leads and traffic into your funnel, you already have basically a pool of buyers, your followers, and you can connect with them through Instagram stories. And basically, they just need to be nurtured more. They already like, know, and trust you. They watch your content. And basically, that's why they follow you. So if you just market to them using a story sequence, if you lead them through a story, if you build trust with them, if you nurture them a little more, if you show them case studies and tell them to take action, this can be huge. You can print a lot of money. You can get so many warm leads that are begging you to just take their money and work with you. You just need to nurture and push them and guide them in the right direction. So you just have a pool of buyers that are just sitting there and you're doing nothing with them. So let's fix this and let me show you basically this IG story sequence strategy in action. So right over here, I have the presentation, break down the whole thing. So let's first break down the framework, because if you don't do this right, then it's not going to work. So let's break down the framework and then I'll show you some examples of some IG story sequences. And basically you can just copy and paste this strategy by the end of this video, implement it and get a bunch of warm leads and convert them with your sales process, and that'll make you a lot of money. So the Instagram story sequence strategy framework. So let's break this down first of all. So obviously the first story has to be a hook. It has to grab attention immediately, like a call out on a pain point, desire, or a shocking truth. Like use polarizing statements, client screenshots, or a relatable question. So after you hook the viewer in, then you gotta educate the viewer. So you gotta share something valuable. You gotta do something like myth busting truth or a simple framework. This positions you as the experts and build trust. Then after you have educated the viewer, then you gotta actually show a story or a case study. So whatever education you provide them, you gotta back that up with a story or proof like a case study. So like share your transformation or a client's before and after. Use real screenshots, video testimonials, or a story style voiceover. So now that you have grabbed the viewer's attention, you have educated them, you have showed them that whatever valuable lesson you provide them is actually true because it's backed up by case studies or your personal story. Now the next step is basically you can either choose either one of these options. It's actually getting the viewer to take action now. So you could either do a soft call to action, like invite them to DM you, vote on a poll, or answer like a quiz. This is like low friction but gets them to engage and self-qualify. Or you could do a hard offer / CTA and basically direct CTA to book a call or DM for details. You got to be crystal clear and exclusive if possible. So let me actually show you examples of each one of these things. So for hook, the example could be 95% of new coaches never make it past 5K per month. And here's why. Feeling stuck with content that's not bringing in leads. ChatGPT just released their biggest update. Here's what info owners should know. And these are some just great examples of hooks that you could use in your IG story sequence. Now, let's talk about the next example, which is for educating. Most people think they need more followers. What they actually need is a clear offer and better positioning. Quick wins. Here's a 3-step framework I use to cut my workday time in half using the time crunch method. Now an example for the story slash case study could be the client went from 1 call a week to 5 booked calls a day after we fixed their calendar funnel. I used to send 30 cold DMs a day with zero traction. Now I get warm leads inbound through one simple shift. Now, example of a soft call to action would be like, curious what this would look like for your offer. Vote on like a poll. Poll could be, are you selling a coaching offer? Yes, I want to. And then you can just follow up with them. Like your setter could just follow up with people who replied on the poll and start a conversation, book, and if they qualify, book a call and get them on your calendar and convert them with your sales process. Now, example of a hard offer slash CTA would be is that I'm opening 2 spots for my one-on-one program, teaching you all the steps that took me to $20,000 per month. DM me private for the details. If you're making content but not getting leads, we should talk. I'll show you what's missing. Book a free strategy call / link. Now, what I'll tell you is a great strategy is that instead of putting a link in your IG story, which is something that's really bad, what you could do is that you could set up a ManyChat automation. You could get the person to DM you something like a keyword like private ready, and then you can just automatically follow up with them with the ManyChat automation, get your setter over there and qualify them and book them on the calendar if they qualify. Because if you look at the end of the day, Instagram is a business and they do not want people clicking off their platform. So if you put a link in there, obviously they're going to click off and they're going to go to another platform. Instagram doesn't like that, so your stories will get less views, and that means less people that see it, so less potential leads for your business. So this is essentially the framework. You got to hook the viewer in, you got to educate them, a story / case study to show proof that they whatever point of area you educate them on that actually is backed by data. It's not just you just telling them random stuff. It actually works. And a soft call to action or a hard offer / CTA. And I'll show you examples of both of these when I'm actually going over some examples of case studies. Now, what this is going to do is that it's going to get you a bunch of leads, which you just have to convert then with your sales process. And these leads are very warm leads. They like, know, and trust you. So it's going to be really easy to convert them. So this is basically the framework that you need to follow whenever you're creating an IG story sequence. So now let's talk about some examples of some IG story sequences. And now one guy that does this really well is Iman Gaji, and there's another guy called Nick Settings. He does this really well. He uses Instagram story sequences really well, and he prints hundreds of thousands of dollars every time he does one of these IG story sequences. So let me show you some examples now. So this is a IG story sequence that Iman did for one of his live events, for when he was doing another live event to launch one of his products called Monetize. So this is what the story sequence looked like. So he just had a simple picture of his to grab the viewer's attention, just a simple lifestyle picture. Then he had this slide. OpenAI just released its latest update, but this isn't just another like regular upgrade. This is a silent revolution. This is basically the hook. Then we go into the next story, which is if you're still using AI just as a chat, you're already getting left behind. So adding context. And then basically he's educating them. He's saying, while you're stuck generating a few ideas, others are leveraging AI to create entire products, generate content at massive scale, automate their business, double their revenue. This is basically educating the viewer, showing them that what people are doing with AI. If you want a behind the scenes look at how I'm using AI to identify hidden untapped markets, create digital products rapidly, even on topics I know nothing about, and nobody's waiting for you to catch up. The gap between those who know and those who don't is getting wider and wider day by day. That's precisely what I'll be showing at the Making Money Online event. So all of this hook to the build up to the education to basically telling the viewer about his event, and then he's educating them on about his event even more. That's precisely what I'll be showcasing at the Making Money Online challenge. From 27th to May 1st, I'm hosting a 5-day live challenge showing how to start using AI as a money making tool instead of a simple chat. This is basically educating the viewer about the event. Now you'll watch as I leverage AI live from spotting profitable niches to instantly generating high quality digital products. No theory, just practical stuff. If you're serious about staying ahead and want to master the new AI revolution before everyone else catches on, sign up below. Now over here, what this is doing is creating FOMO. It's basically leading the viewer through a journey, an emotional cycle, educating them and telling them that if they don't actually take action on this, they're going to get left behind. And the event is actually going to tell them what exactly it is. Then just a link. This is basically a call to action to actually join for the event, and then a hard CTA. like I said, this example of a hard CTA, the strategy is exactly what's driving massive revenue for those who understand it first. Ever wanted to be early for something big? This is your chance. Sign up now. So this is a great example for a story sequence that Iman Gaji used for one of his events. He's hooking the viewer in, he's educating them, he's creating FOMO, and a hard CTA at the end for them to sign up for the event. Let's break down another Instagram story sequence that Iman did, and this is actually a pretty good one. So let's break it down. So he says, let me show you something interesting. So a hook to basically capture their attention. These are the YouTube analytics of my most watched video ever. It's back from 2022, a 38-minute VSL breaking down different business models. You have probably watched it yourself. So building up on the story, it got 9.6 million views, 184,000 subscribers, $267,000 in AdSense. Now here's the most interesting part. So even hooking them in and building like an interest peak. You know those $267,000 it generated? Well, that's only 1/100th of its actual profit. This single video generated me $20 million for 3 years straight. No ads, no complex funnels, just a link in the description to an order page. So this is building up on the story, so interest peak basically. That's an 8-figure business built on the back of a single video and has a byproduct positioning me as top authority in my industry, creating awareness about my product, creating an audience of millions. Most people pay $10 million on ads to get this many views and sales on their VSL. In contrast, I got paid $267,000 by Google to make $20 million in the sales. It's the center part of my flywheel content system. So over here, basically, he's building a trust peak, and now he's actually educating the viewer that this is the system that actually got me these results. And then next story basically says, with it, I don't need to spend 8 hours a day recording ads, fixing funnels, managing a sales team, disputes. All I do is record 4 to 5 videos a month and 1 VSL a year. That's it. So more education. That's because when you apply this flywheel content system correctly, every new video you publish boosts this flywheel VSL. So the older it gets, the more it sells. So more education. And then right over here, he says, it's like building digital real estate. It keeps paying for years to come. And each new video stacks on top of each other. Unlike ads and funnels that fatigue every 2 weeks and stop bringing sales immediately if you pause them. And then the next story, he says, if you want to learn how to implement a flywheel content system on your business, I'm hosting a 5-day live challenge showing you exactly that. So this is where he introduces his product. Then he says basically he's educating the viewer about his product even more. By the end of this 5 days, you will have the playbook on how to implement your own flywheel content system. You'll be able to literally just copy and paste my system, and then a hard CTA to actually join the challenge. And then basically at the end, he has a story which is filtering out all the people that his event is not for. So this is getting him the highest quality leads. So this is another great example of a story sequence: the build up, educating the viewer, telling them about his unique system, the results he got with it, and then a hard CTA at the end. And another great example is this one, because this story sequence is not that long. It's just a five-page story sequence, 5-slide story sequence right over here. There was a time when I used to watch other people win and think, what do they know that I don't? I wasn't lazy, I wasn't dumb. I just didn't have the map. The turning point for me was digital products. One idea packaged the right way changed my entire life. It wasn't overnight, but it gave me a leverage, freedom, confidence, and space to breathe. I still remember the version of me that couldn't figure it out. The late nights, the overthinking, the frustration. If you're there now, I see you. And that's why I'm doing the 5-day live event, to send the elevator back down. And then here's just a hard CTA to actually get their free ticket. And over here, some context. 5 days, me showing you how to get started with digital products plus AI. The same steps I wish someone gave me. No fluff, no hype, just real guidance. And then right over here, tap the reminders. If you miss it, you miss it. Then basically just creating FOMO. So it doesn't really have to be this long either anyways, but it can also be short like this and still get the job across. Now, there's something that I want you to keep in mind, that you cannot overuse or over spam this strategy. You cannot just over spam this method. You know why? Because your followers, they check your stories and they see that, okay, you're posting the story sequence, and basically you're just selling to them every single day. And they do notice that, and they smell that from 1,000 miles away. So if you just do that every single day, if you spam this strategy every single day, they will just stop watching your stories, they will unfollow you. But if you use this strategy smartly, like you use it once every week, and rest of the week you're just posting stories where you're not even selling at all, you're just educating them, giving them something, not expecting anything in return, then this strategy is absolutely good and it can pay millions of dollars for you in sales. And I'm not even lying when I say that. So this was the whole IG story sequence strategy and the secret strategy that your competitors are using to make hundreds of thousands of dollars of sales with their info product. So this was the secret strategy that if implemented right, it could 2 to 3x your sales for your offer. Now go ahead and use this strategy, and if you implement it the right way and also have other aspects of your business right, like your offer and your sales process, then I promise you, you will get a bunch of warm leads that are begging you to take their money. Now, if you need help implementing this strategy, then feel free to hit me up on Instagram. I'll leave it the first link in the description of this video, and I'll be happy to help you out. Now, if you found value in this video, then consider checking out this video where I break down why every big creator coach is implementing YouTube long form and the secret YouTube strategy that they're using to print millions of dollars without even going viral or having millions of subscribers. And with that being said, I hope you liked this video, and I'll see you in the next one.